So Las Vegas is sorely in need of an angel, somebody to come to its rescue right now, somebody who has vision, who's a visionary, who's already has a pedigree of changing the city many times. So the question for you is, what do the Golden Nugget, the Mirage, the Treasure Island, the Bellagio, the Wynn, and the Encore all have in common? The answer is simple: Steve Wynn, and each and every one of those properties changed Vegas in ways that are crazy. This video might go a little bit longer, but we're going to talk about the rumors that are circulating right now from what I hear from my sources, which is that Steve Wynn may be looking to reinstitute his Las Vegas presence, get back into the market, get a gaming license, get something up and running. And it makes a lot of sense right now. Billionaires like to buy in at the bottom of the market, and heavens knows Las Vegas is at the bottom of the market if it's ever been here before, even more so than 2008. So that is the purview, to borrow a popular term from a few months ago, of this video. Like, share, subscribe. My name is Steven. I am not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I try to make you think in the videos. You guys can make a decision and tell me in the comments below. Comment right now. Do you still love you some Steve Wynn, or do you hate him and you think he's a scumbag? Because we're going to talk about why he's not in Vegas anymore, why he lost control of his stake in the Wynn and the Encore, in Wynn, a company that he built and put his name on. Now, he does have political affiliations. We're not going to touch upon those right now. There's a whole nother video I could do another day of his rivalry with Donald Trump back in the day, and there was a bunch of things that were said, but that needs to be better researched and be done in a different video format. So if you guys want to support the channel, you guys can reach out on Patreon, where you get your name in all the credits of all the videos I do, early access to videos, photography that I don't post anywhere else, blog posts I don't post anywhere else. You get to hear my insecurities. Yeah, it sucks. I have them. And I try to post it there because I know people won't rip me apart too bad. And if you guys want to support the channel too, you can go on to vegasfacemask.com. You know, baseball season is starting. I know I'm surprised as you are. Why don't I have any hockey pucks on a mask? I'm a Canadian by trade, by birth. These are the best masks you'll ever have. They wrap around the back of your head. 2 for $25. Made in the house on the property I'm sitting on by my sweet wife, Sweet Caroline, and we ship them out to you, and we do our best. Okay, also you can hit up the link for Amazon affiliates if you're buying stuff on Amazon. If you want to buy a $25,000 gold diamond ring with platinum all over it, I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Use my link. They credit me back. Okay, commercials aside, haters gonna hate. Get to the point already. That's what you're screaming. Steve Wynn last Wednesday was acquitted, and the case was dropped. Well, he wasn't acquitted, but the case was dropped. He had a bunch of women suing him for sexual harassment in the past. They had allegations against him. These are some things that he did in the past that led him to basically lose control of the Wynn company that he had built, lose abilities to have, I think, licenses in Nevada, if I'm not mistaken. But the judge looked at the case and said that the 9 women going under Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9, that wasn't enough. They needed to be more public. They claimed that if they did, they would be blacklisted in the gaming industry in Las Vegas because he is such a powerful individual, apparently still to this day, that they were afraid for their future jobs in Las Vegas. Everybody's afraid for their future jobs in Las Vegas right about now, but they have a special reason to be, I suppose, in their opinions. And they also had some paperwork that wasn't filed, and it just wasn't enough, so the judge dropped it. Now, a lot of you guys will be telling me that the justice system was created by wealthy people for wealthy people. You can have that discussion below, but the facts of the case are this. The case was dropped. Okay, it's done. He no longer has to worry about massive lawsuits. And when we take a look at things and he goes to reapply or try to build something in Nevada, that has a lot of clout with the state. So the rumor now is that he's coming back to Las Vegas. But why does this matter? Why can it save Las Vegas? Well, look at it this way, okay? Steve Wynn came into Las Vegas in the market and bought a stake in the New Frontier, or might have been the Frontier at the time. I don't know. It was the Frontier. It's gone now. It doesn't matter. It was imploded after it was bought by Phil Ruffin, and then he bought the Treasure Island. But we'll get to the Treasure Island in just a moment. He then went on, after a bunch of shenanigans and people that were tied to the old mob families, to buy a small stake in the Golden Nugget. He increased the stake to a bigger stake and built the first hotel tower downtown in the entire last 30 years back in the 1980s. He then hired, from the story that I heard, an entertainment director who had a hit on the radio named Kenny Rogers, brought in Dolly Parton and Frank Sinatra to perform down there, and sold an experience in Las Vegas for the first time. He sold an experience to go see them while you're staying at the property. He didn't sell tickets to a show, but he revitalized downtown in that sense, made it an entertainment place, a place where you would go and have an experience down at the Golden Nugget. Never happened before. First big time thing that happened in downtown Las Vegas. First big change to how Vegas is, because now Vegas is about experiences. He then went on and bought land where the Mirage sits. For a time, people thought that it was going to be called Golden Nugget South. That's what they had nicknamed it. He had, at the meantime, built the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City and was dabbling in both coasts for gaming after Atlantic City legalized gaming in the late 70s, early 80s, was it? But while he was building the Mirage, he was building an experience that nobody had ever seen in Las Vegas before. He envisioned a resort where you could stay on the resort for the whole entire time you were there. You could see a show like Siegfried and Roy, have a world-class spa, a 5-star dinner, a gaming experience, sit by the pool, go to the gyms, and never even have to leave your property. Something unheard of before in Las Vegas. But he wasn't done there. Steve Wynn then went on to build the Treasure Island. At the time he was at the Mirage, though, he called up this guy named Guy Libertaire in Quebec, Canada, and he said, "That Cirque looks pretty interesting. Let me put it in the back parking lot in one of your big circus tents." They went on to sell out hundreds of shows here in Las Vegas, so he offered Cirque du Soleil the very first residency show with a theater of their own design in Las Vegas. Turned out the Mystere show was pretty good, and people really liked it. So the Treasure Island. Double whammy on the Treasure Island, one of the very first themed resorts in Las Vegas. Sure, the Mirage was beautiful with its tropical theme and big, huge volcanoes going out front. That was in and of itself amazing, but now we had a full-on pirate show and the now kid-friendly era of Las Vegas to draw people in. We had a themed resort with a free show with Cirque du Soleil in town. And he wasn't done there. He actually bought the land that the old dunes sat on, which became the Bellagio, because Steve Wynn has an obsession, seemingly, with water and architecture, built one of the grandest resort properties on the planet, and what has to be, to this date, one of the most iconic things of Las Vegas, the Bellagio Fountain Show. The same fountain show that brought me to tears when I saw it perform for the first time in 78 days. It was a Tiesto song. Yeah, a grown man, 39 years old, got brought to tears by a Tiesto song. That's pretty iconic and moving. After that, of course, we had him broker the land deal that became the city center, another major change in the Las Vegas market. And then, of course, we have the Wynn Resort, which was built after the Bellagio, before the city center, an opulent, massive palace just for high rollers, middle-tier rollers, and a building that's just one of the most beautiful buildings. The way the light hits it at sunset, oh man, I'll have to show you guys someday. After that, the Encore was built, and Steve Wynn then took a break. He didn't take a break. They always move. They always kind of like sharks. They have to swim all the time. Even when they're sleeping, they have to move forward. But Steve Wynn, as you can see, has changed Vegas a lot in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, the changes were just on over the top. It changed the city from a place that was just a little strip of casinos where people would go and gamble in a mob era to a place with entertainment destinations, kid-friendly destinations, massive projects like City Center, the most iconic show in the entire world, possibly, and with the Bellagio Water Show, been seen by billions, countless billions of people between online and between real life. I bet you the Bellagio show has an impression in their brain for billions of different folks. And it doesn't stop there, apparently, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the rumor has it that Steve Wynn is trying to enter back into the Las Vegas market. Now, how could this possibly go wrong? I don't think it could, to be quite honest with you. This is a positive video. If Steve Wynn entered back into the Vegas market, a few things would happen. Wynn is not the type that's going to buy the Cosmopolitan. He's not going to buy it from Blackstone. The rumor was that MGM Resorts was looking to buy it, the Cosmopolitan, so they could put it into they could own the entire thing. They would own everything, well, with the exception of Bellagio. Why would they buy that? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. That's a whole end of the video for another day. But he's not going to buy an existing property. Steve Wynn is the kind of guy that's going to buy a piece of land. There are a couple of large-scale pieces of land available. You have land near the airport, but there are height restrictions. You have land next to the Fontainebleau, which became the Drew. I keep referring to it as Fontainebleau. I'm a local. Get over it. That's what we call it in most cases. That was actually zoned off and approved for an arena called the All-Net Arena, which would have been a basketball arena on the Strip. It's not big enough. There's a possibility that he buys the Drew, and I kept joking on the channel in the last year that Steve Wynn should buy the Drew and call it the Steve. It would just be a simple name change. But that's not his style. He needs to build something from the ground up. The man is a visionary after all. The only piece of land I could see him buying into on the Strip right now would be the piece of land that the frontier sits on, which is very, very interesting because there's history between him and that land, dating way back into the 1960s. In the 1960s, as I mentioned about a million minutes ago in this video, Steve Wynn bought in a partial share into the frontier. At the time, it was actually mixed up, owned by mafia people. You never knew who actually held the license because they would use fake people and pseudonyms, because back then, I guess you couldn't fact check like you can with beenverified.com, and that's all these websites is what I'm referring to. So he lost that stake, and to this date, when he owned the Wynn Resort, hated that site. He thought it was an eyesore. See, after implosion, the new frontier, owned by Phil Ruffin, just became a dirt blank path. It had a couple of different proposals. One proposal was to build a replica of the Plaza Hotel in New York City. That fell through after the economy imploded in 2008. Another developer from Australia came in and was trying to build a property there too. And in the entire time that it was there, Wynn was trying to hide it from his guests. He purchased several thousands of dollars worth of pine trees, put them in tree boxes, and stuck them on the property line so his guests would see less of it if they were in the first 20 stories of the hotel. At this point, Wynn is doing everything he can to hide the eyesore across the street, and now if he comes back into the market, he would have the opportunity to buy that same land that he started off in Las Vegas 40, 50 years ago. What a story that would be. What a cyclical story that would be. He would be going to war and competing with the property that he built across the street, the Wynn and the Encore properties. He carries a name, he carries a legacy, and no matter what you think of the guy, no matter what you say about sexual harassment allegations, when they opened the Wynn, the Bellagio, rumor has it, had to actually stop their employees from giving their notice and put them on notice. If you go apply for the Wynn property and we find out you're doing so, you will be fired immediately. People wanted to follow him from when he opened the Bellagio to all those years later when he opened up the Wynn. I've heard stories about him being a great employer in Las Vegas, but we do know one thing. He has allegations against him, which might preclude him from even getting a gaming license. But there is one thing that might guarantee him a gaming license, and that's the fact that the state is broke right now. You all know it. There's an $850 or is it $870 million budget windfall in the state. Him putting a construction crew on a land project the size of the old Frontier site would ensure years and years of construction, years and years of jobs, years and years of increased tax revenues, and years of potential growth in an area that's going to see the resorts world open up in 2021, and then very little happen after that. It's a barren wasteland when you get to the end of the Fashion Show Mall. You're going to walk in 115-degree heat through nothingness to the resorts world. This could only benefit everybody, and I hope for his case and for our sakes that we do see some kind of action on this rumor that the Wynn is re-entering into the gaming market, because it seems like a win-win for everybody. More tax revenue, more jobs, more employment, more people coming here and taking note of how a billionaire businessman is reinvesting in Las Vegas, and that could be a great thing for the city. So let's hope that we can put everything aside and we can get some projects happening in Las Vegas of that kind of stature, whatever it would be. And even if he does just buy the old Drew site and spends $1.5 billion to renovate it and then buys the property next to it and expands it out where an arena might have been in the past, let's hope something big happens for Las Vegas, because this city's a chameleon. It crawls on those leaves behind me, it turns green. It crawls on the bark, it turns a darker kind of brown colored green, because we always got to be changing. And that's my video for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. My name is Steven, by the way, and I'm not leaving Las Vegas, by the way, and I'm a Vegas blogger, don't you know? And I hope you guys join the Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel, you guys can also hit up with VegasFaceMask.com. This is where we get close to the camera and show you the quality of those. Holy cow. Made by my wife. Don't fog up your glasses. No metal in the nose. Good for older folks, younger folks, everybody who doesn't want to have something wrapped around their ears. They go around the back of your head. 2 for $25. You can go to VegasFaceMask.com for that. I want to tell you guys you're awesome. I hope you guys like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below about this potential story, what you think it could mean for the city. Now's the time of the video where we say 3, 2, 1, click. Are you ready for this? 3, 2, 1. Get close to the camera. Look real close and say click.